lovely friends, welcome back to Tarot AF. So today we have another pick a card reading for you all on will they reach out. So firstly, what we're going to look at right at the top of the reading so you can see if it resonates with who your person is, we're going to look at what their energy currently is, what they're currently working towards, their mind, body and spirit state. So you can just have a confirmation like, yeah, this feels like my situation or my person. And then what we're going to do, we're going to use tarot and we're going to go into the question of will they reach out? So what their intentions are towards you and this connection. And then at the end, as always, we'll be getting advice for you directly from Spirit about this situation and anything else you might need to know. So if you've never been to a pick a card reading before, hello and welcome. What you can do, you can take a moment, you can pause the video, you can see which one is drawing your eye. The piles that we have laid out for you today is pile 1 with the Synesthesia Tarot deck and the Desert Rose crystal. We have pile 2 with the Santa Muerte Tarot deck and the Moss Agate Moon. We have pile 3 with the Fortuna Tarot deck and the Moonstone crystal. And we have pile 4 with the Orbita Tarot deck and the Citrine piece. So take a moment. Like I said, you can pause the video, you can meditate over it, see which one is drawing your eye, trust that that one is for you. And like I said, you've got that confirmation right at the top. And what I do is I post the timestamps in the comment section, but also in the information box for this video too. And you can skip ahead there for your reading and I will see you then. Bye. Hello, my lovely friends of pile 1. So if you picked the Synesthesia Tarot deck and the Desert Rose crystal, then this reading is going to be for you. As you can see, I've already shuffled your oracle cards, so we're going to put the tarot just to the side for a moment. So if you skipped a bit of the intro, no problem at all. This is your quick top section to look at this person, look at their energy, their mind, body and spirit at this current moment. So you can kind of get confirmation like, yeah, this is who I'm asking about. So it's more just a confirmation for you right at the top. And then it also might inform some of their intentions and we might be able to look at their energy space to see whether they are in the position to reach out as well. So all good things can come from this. So let's get going. So firstly, this person is being represented by Lizard. We have Patience. We have the Strength card. We have Freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. We have the World card in reverse. And we also have Reclaim as well. So firstly, I want to talk about Lizard right at the top. So with Lizard, it could be, it's represented by fire energy. So this person could have fire placements or be a fire sign. So Leo, Sagittarius or Aries, they don't necessarily have to have those placements, but it might be a nice confirmation if they do. This person is an incredibly sensual person. Like they may even have a kind of intuitive, they may just know things without even like pulling it from almost nowhere. I think this person has a real instinctual knowing, this deep knowing, and they're really sensitive to subtle energies. Like I think they can tell, and maybe they don't even label themselves as that or recognize themselves as that, but I think they're just incredibly perceptive and they can always have a sort of barometer on people. But this, and it feels like almost empathy in a way, like they have this real great knowing almost how to handle people, or they can certainly pick up on the different waves of how people are feeling and acting towards them. And I think this can really bog them down. And I think there's this element of patience here. So it's almost, I'm hearing like a timer ticking. And it's like they know that they have to tap out. And maybe at the moment they've had to tap out and maybe they've become quite bogged down with this, but I just don't think they are feeling completely within their power. So they've kind of taken this time away and they've had to be patient with themselves, had to take this balance, because with this World card in reverse, it feels like they lost their way a bit. They lost sight of what it is that they were moving towards, or what goal they wanted to move towards. And maybe it's because they became bogged down with a lot of dense kind of energy that they were trying to transmute. But also it can just come from overstimulation sort of thing. And I think they know that it's almost they were focused so much on the external, everything that was happening externally, and not really focusing on themselves and the kind of voice that was talking to them, that intuition that whispers. It's like they were letting everything else, that loud noise. And actually, I think they're trying to get back to their roots, trying to get back to them and their inner artist, to kind of re-establish what it is that they want, what they're setting their sights on, and what really matters too. And I think there's just, with this reclaim card here, they're just trying to reclaim their freedom to pick the things that they want to do, instead of maybe feeling like they're pigeonholed into a box of what maybe somebody else is asking of them, or they feel like they have to do. And with this free will card here as well, I feel like it's almost like cutting of the strings, cutting of the ties of maybe they were in a job that they didn't particularly like, or they were going down a particular career path, or in a relationship even potentially, that for some people is what I'm hearing, that maybe not particularly with you, maybe it was with somebody else, that now they've kind of released, or they're trying to be patient with themselves while they gather their strength and kind of feel more themselves and within their power. And that's really what I think here is, that reclaim is the one that really bursts out at me, is that they are just trying to do their own thing and to reclaim what it is that they wanted, or what they potentially even lost. Maybe for some people they lost what it is they were directing their energy towards, kind of strayed too far from the path, or maybe there was an obstacle too big for them seemingly, so they just took themselves out of the game. I'm hearing from Hilary in a Hilary Duff movie, A Cinderella Story, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. And it's almost like maybe they were too scared to go after this thing, and maybe this thing that they still feel that is nudging them and calling to them, and they were so fearful of not getting it, of not having that thing, that they almost pulled themselves out of that game. So they're trying to gather up their strength and realize that they are the ones that are free to make the choice to go towards what it is that they want, and they hold all the power and all the cards, pun intended, to do that. But that requires great patience from themselves and really listening to themselves and their intuitive body. So I think also something I want to touch on as well is, while they're kind of out of balance and trying to return themselves into this person that is very artistic and maybe quite instinctual, and moving towards their spiritual path or their higher path. They may not be spiritual, they may not identify in that way. For some people they might do. They might have been quite elusive, or non-committal maybe, and quite flaky for some people, and it didn't really feel like them. And it's that pulling away so that they don't lose what they wanted, but ironically that lets it slip. So yeah, for some people they might appear as quite an enigma, this lizard. Like they seem quite all-knowing, but maybe to you they seem like just a puzzle, a jigsaw, like it. And it's interesting that all these scales here as well, and almost the lizard blending into that, like not really sure and not being able to grasp their energy maybe for long. Maybe they feel like they dart around quite a lot. I'm seeing that lizard, I think it was the lizards that were running after the snake, or it was the snake running after the lizard, wasn't it? In that Planet, I think it was a Planet Earth documentary, it's like intense footage of just like that lizard, I think, running across the sand, and it's almost like that. I'm getting runner chaser energy here. So maybe at one point they were almost chasing and now they're running away, or maybe they have that element within them, because I can't really remember whether it was the snakes chasing after the lizard or the lizard chasing after the snakes. I think it was the snakes chasing after the lizard, from memory. But it just feels like they're constantly like maybe flipping between the two, knowing what they're going for and then not knowing, and there's that kind of stop start, like gear shift thing. So let's pack this away and see, will they reach out? So I've got your tarot deck. We'll put the crystal just to the side over there. We'll give it a really good shuffle too. So like I said, if that doesn't feel like your person and you're still with me here and you were drawn to another pile, then maybe go back to the intro and sort of pick again. But there may not be a message here for you today. If you were only drawn to this pile but that doesn't feel right for you, then maybe there's not one, which can happen. Sometimes it can be really, really frustrating. But obviously, like I said at the beginning, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not resonating, leave it. If the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. Great. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to give it one more deep shuffle. So, Spirit. For pile 1, will this person reach out to them? So, we have got the Page of Wands firstly. We have got the 5 of Cups. Will this person reach out to pile 1? We have got the Strength card. We have got the Hanged Man. We've got the Queen of Wands. We have got the 8 of Wands too. Can we clarify the 5 of Cups, please, Spirit? Can we clarify? We've got 3 of Wands. We've got the 9 of Wands. Strength meets strength. Strength squared. I love that. Okay. We have got the Knight of Pentacles with the Hanged Man. And for the Queen of Wands, can we clarify the Queen of Wands, please? 6 of Cups. Okay. We've got a lot of fire energy here. Okay, and on the back, we've got the 10 of Swords. Okay, interesting. That's really interesting. I'm interested to see what's on the very back too. 10 of Wands. Okay, yeah. I get that. I get that. Okay, I kind of want to display both, but I'm going to hold them like that. Okay. So the question, will this person reach out? The first thing here with this Page of Wands and this 8 of Wands, the Page of Wands can be a messenger, a faithful kind of companion. It can mean enlightenment too. And with this 8 of Wands, it's swiftness. There's clarity coming. There's almost something that can't be stopped, this surge of energy, this direction, almost this knocking on the door. Like, I'm hearing like a knock knock joke. I don't know if this person is particularly a joker, maybe, but I feel like there is this almost imminent, maybe sooner than you maybe realize, whether it's a meeting or whether it's just a message directed towards you. And I think maybe already you intuitively know this, and maybe this person, and it's interesting, we've got almost this gecko lizard here as well. I'm going to say lizard with this Page of Wands. It's almost like the lizard is directing and almost intuitively already sending you these downloads, and maybe you already feel like this surge of energy coming and directed towards you, and maybe it's been quite a frustrating time currently whilst this person is figuring out things, because with this Ten of Swords and this Ten of Wands over here, there's definitely an abrupt ending that this person has had to work through. And I think it's something that really took its toll on them energetically and in their mind as well. And I think with this Ten of Swords, whether it was the words of other people or circumstances, and like their mind just became so plagued that it felt like they had all of this expectation thrust upon them. There was so much burden, like with this Ten of Wands, like the scales, it just didn't feel even, and they didn't feel like they could delegate anything to anybody. So they were kind of just in this, I'm seeing like a storm and not being able to move through that storm, like right in the eye of the hurricane. And I'm hearing Hamilton, in the eye of the hurricane, there is quiet. Because it feels like they were almost alone, but it's almost like they became at peace with their chaos. Like they were so used to this chaos, like that quiet of that hurricane, being in that eye of that storm, became a normality to them. And I think they didn't realize actually how far they'd gone on their own, and actually how far down the road, and how much had actually built up. And I think maybe whilst they withdrew, and maybe whilst they were in this state of kind of not, and with this Ten of Swords, with this lips here, I feel like there was maybe no communication at all. Like they maybe completely cut off or like fell off the grid, because they were trying to work through their emotional loss, their mind, their spirit. It's literally mind, body, and kind of spirit basically, like their emotional body as well. They suffered such an emotional loss and grief that they were just trying to move through it and feel everything. And maybe they repressed that for a time, and they knew that they would get out of it, like they knew that the storm would pass, but they had to feel every single emotion. And maybe at the time, maybe they were quite, for some people, maybe they were quite even melodramatic about their circumstances, which maybe distanced you a bit. That may not be for everybody, but for some people, maybe it felt like they were wallowing slightly, and maybe it became quite difficult because you knew that they weren't really like that. But that's only for a very few people, I feel. But for the majority, it's like hitting that rock bottom. They knew that there was hope, and they knew that there would be that opportunity to move forwards again, and that there has to be endings in order for new beginnings. And that's really, I think, where they've been directing their energy and building their strength. They know that they've moved a lot already. They're far down their road for where they want to be, and maybe they're closer than they actually think, but they were holding on to so much they couldn't pick up the new energy that was coming, or realize actually how far they'd come. And maybe with this fire energy here as well, maybe they even flared up a bit. Maybe there were words spoken, or for some people I'm hearing, like, if they were maybe in a job or something like that, maybe they stormed out. There's this real fiery energy here, and maybe or maybe they cut themselves off because they were ashamed of their behavior. For some people, maybe they just like lost it one day, maybe not towards you, but at something in your presence or in other, like in a surrounding presence, and they've had to really work through through what happened in that state. But we've had strength here, and Nine of Wands is strength too. And then obviously in our Oracle as well, in our Enchanted Map, we had strength again. So it's actually strength cubed. Cubed? Yeah, that's right. Pretty sure. And I think it's almost like a balancing act with this strength, like realizing that they are still strong even in their vulnerability. And actually maybe they've been putting up a wall because, and I think leading back to what we said about Lizard earlier, because their passions and their intuitive knowing and what it is that they want to go on, like that path that they want to go towards, I think maybe they saw love, or that, like the love of what they want, as a weakness to them. Almost it almost made them too vulnerable, and actually no, it's one of their greatest strengths, and there's vulnerability and strength in bearing your all and saying who you are. And even the lion, you know, takes its rest and its naps, but it's still a lion. It doesn't take away from its strength and who it is and what it is. So I think there was definitely, and that's really where that patience comes in. It's almost that soothing of that roaring lion, that thing that maybe needs to be checked in with and tamed. That and the lion is just, it's your courage and your determination to go after things, but also it's your protector, it's your protection. And you know, it's almost like that Pride Rock energy of like knowing that you have to come back and always gearing yourself up for it in a way. And there's not that proving who you are, but just being who you are. So yeah, I feel like there is definitely this gathering, and I think they've got themselves to that point, and there's definitely this direction. Again, with this Knight of Pentacles, they're moving towards something now. They're directing their energy. They're getting into a routine. They're being rigorous with themselves. They're checking in. They're being committed. They put it into their GPS, and they're like, this is where I'm going. And I think they've turned everything around on their head. Like, they've realized that enlightenment comes from them, and actually they shine brightly no matter what everybody else thinks. I think they're almost going, they're treading their own path now. They're not going to allow the external to bog them down in the same way that they did. And it feels like they've got back to that essence and that spirit and who they are. And I love this parallel with this Hanged Man, with this enlightenment here, and this Queen of Wands. And it's almost like with this Queen of Wands, I feel like this represents your energy. And I see that with the Six of Cups here. And with this Queen of Wands, so potentially this indicates that you could be a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries too. Maybe you are a fire sign as well. And I love how they are almost on opposite sides through this journey to almost, it's almost like these were the barriers and the things that they had to learn on their story and their road in order to almost, for spirit to progress them, almost that energy towards you. But I think they see you as this, again, shining beacon, this shining example, this person that has weathered so much, that has been through so much with them, but also within your own life. But you are optimistic and positive and such a force to be reckoned with, like a creative spirit. And I feel that this person is quite creative too, so quite artistic, or certainly says artistic things. And I think this just do it energy, all of these memories keep spurring them on, and they find great solace in words that maybe you said and shared, and your wisdom. And I feel like whatever was the reason, and I feel like it's probably more from them that there was maybe that cutoff. There's been no doubt that memories and the nostalgia of where you both were in the kind of good times, in the heyday, I want to say, has brought them so much fondness and joy. And And it's almost like I don't know, for some people, maybe you feel like, because I said running and chaser earlier, maybe you feel like this is twin flame. If you identify with that, potentially that's a nice confirmation for you, with this Page of Wands and this Queen of Wands almost flickering at one another, I want to say, between these cards. But my spirit is saying that I think this person has definitely changed and reevaluated and got back on their path for them, and they feel like there's almost wind in their sails now with this Three of Wands. Like, luck is on their side. That opportunity, that stepping stone is there in a way that maybe they didn't think when they were in that dark period. They didn't think that they were maybe going to see that and maybe see you again potentially as well. But I think that with this Knight of Pentacles, there's definitely this direction. And I mean, first cards to come down, there's, with this Eight of Wands, there's this swiftness and this movement now. It's almost like they've got a rocket up their behind, and they're ready to go. They're ready to soar and move forward and direct their energy. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's almost an explanation or clarity or information about them which comes to you, maybe through a friend or of a friend, or maybe directly from this person. And yeah, it feels like Simba almost coming back from Pride. I don't know. I mean, the lion, the Leo lion here in the Strength card. Yeah, it just feels like they're ready to take up their position again within themselves, and again reclaim their authority and who they are, and reclaim what they are here for. With this Hanged Man, like, they're ready to, they're going to release everything they can't control. And I think especially the opinions of other people is maybe something that they were going after and maybe seeking validation externally, whereas actually now they've had all that internal validation. Like, they're ready and, like I said, committed to that path and ready to go. Like, they've put their plan in their GPS and they're moving towards that, and that's what they want. And yeah, I think with this Queen of Wands, there's no doubt that energy brings them so much joy, so many memories and happy memories, that they seek solace in, and they want to keep building on that garden and that vibrancy of their roots. And I think it's almost like that anchor is what I'm hearing, and they just want to create more and grow those deeper. So I wouldn't be surprised if they reach out imminently or very, very soon, or again through friends of friends maybe, or there's definitely some news about this person coming through. So I want to get you some I'm going to use Moonology cards today, which I haven't used in a while, so I'm super excited about that, for advice for you, or what you need to hear from Spirit. So, and maybe about this connection too. So we've got prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. And again, the Knight of Pentacles here, putting that thing in, and it's because it's Pentacles energy and Taurus too. Again, new moon, new start, new beginnings, reevaluating, learning from that cycle and moving ahead, but also setting those goals. And I think that prosperity, that steadiness, and I think that's almost what they want. They want to say, hey, that's where I'm going. Like, this is, I found myself. I think they're very proud of that fact, and they want to share that with you. Hold your vision, fixed moon. And obviously, like I said, these are for you too. And I think maybe you could be in quite a similar place to this person, but I think this might be, it might even feel like it's quite connected in that way. But with this hold your vision as well, hold your vision for what it is that you want as well. So you can almost learn from this person, because everybody comes into our lives as a beautiful lesson, and the way that they've maybe handled situations and how they lost their focus and how they've had to go through this reclaiming of their power. You can hold true to who you are and your purpose, and don't alter your goals or your vision if the energy doesn't match up with this person, because they might be able to catch up. But don't slow yourself down. Hold where you're going with this fixed state. It's almost like whatever it is that you set for yourself with this new moon, whatever it is, whatever goals and aspirations that you wanted to go for, it's almost like you're already on your way there. You're already maybe further down the path. So hold where it is you're going, and you've got your own mountains to climb too. So don't forget that. Okay. We've also got balance, spirituality and practicality, full moon in Pisces, and step out of your comfort zone, North Node. So with the North Node, it can be destiny and destiny path. And I think with this step out of your comfort zone, step out of the box and maybe keep challenging yourself. Like I said, you're moving towards that vision that you're holding for yourself, but don't limit yourself to that ceiling. If you exceed expectations, or your own expectations, or your own aspirations, your own goals, you can keep going, keep stepping into that unknown space. And I think with this balanced spirituality and practicality, keep asking spirit to co-create with you what it is that what your vision is. And maybe that's a fairly new thing for you to do, maybe asking the universe, or working with affirmations alongside kind of a practical plan in a way. But if you feel called to do that, then keep going with it as well. And I think with this balanced spirituality and practicality too, you know, you can be a practical person, and you can have your to-do list, do your notes, all of those kind of things, and be within your sensual world, have those goals, have those ambitions, and still leave room for the universe to guide you. And whether that's asking for signs, or through meditation going deeper, and allowing your path to develop in some organic way as well as alongside your goals. And I'm not saying your goals aren't organic, but you can have that sense of wonder and play too with that spirituality, and listen to that intuitive voice, that beacon within you. And you can be very, and you know, whatever your goal is, and it's almost like this person again is a lesson for you in that way of maybe losing sight of their world, and losing sight of their instinctiveness and their intuition in a way, and the kind of why, their highest purpose. Don't lose that. Don't lose what you know that you're made for, because of the practical elements. And you know, we need to make sure that we're comfortable, and you know, we're being practical with ourselves of what we need as our basic human needs. But you can start edging and start balancing, and knowing that there is this path, or there is this goal that you aspire towards. And it's almost like you got to move some of your chip. If you're playing poker, you got to move, or maybe blackjack or something like that is what I'm seeing, envisioning on the board. You've got to start moving and placing your bets on that, and kind of giving it the shot that you want to give. And you can do that very slowly and surely, but it's all about that balance to start wherever you may be allowing your energy to go. Can you draw that back? Can you draw that back towards the path that you feel intuitively? And yeah, step into the unknown. And maybe it's you that reaches out to this person. Maybe after hearing this, maybe you're like, or maybe when you hear of their news, or you get clarity or information about them, maybe it's your roll of your dice, is what I'm hearing for some people. So yeah, hold your vision for the things that you want, but there is always that room for, obviously, you, free will, taking the wheel, your freedom. So yeah, you step up and you do it if that's what you fancy and that's what you want. So yes, my lovely friends of Power One, I'm going to leave that reading there for you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really hope it resonated with you. If you'd like to see me again, I'd love to see you there. Please do hit that subscribe button. Until next time, sending all the love. Bye. Hello my lovely friends of pile 2. So if you picked the Santa Muerte Tarot deck and the Moss Agate Moon, then this reading is going to be for you. So as you can see, I've already shuffled your oracle cards, so we're going to start with that. So I'm just going to slide the tarot deck away. So if you skip the intro, we are just going to do at the top of the reading this person's current energy, mind, body, spirit. And obviously if there's been that separation or that no contact, you may not know that fully, but you'll be able to identify personality traits or a kind of story behind them, and that should hopefully give you confirmation like, yeah, this is the person that I'm asking about. So let's get right into it. So firstly, we have got crocodile, we have got health, we have got bone collector, we have got service, I feel good when I can help others. We have door to personal healing and happiness, and we also have ancestors too. So I want to start with crocodile here. So we've got water energy here. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This person doesn't necessarily have to be one of those placements, one of those signs, sorry, or have those placements, but it might be a nice confirmation if they do. So don't worry and don't bog yourself down with if no, that isn't that person because of that. But I feel like crocodile is playing a waiting game. There's definitely this patience here from them. And I think my first instinct is that they have had to take a step back from the external world and turn inward for whatever reason. And they actively couldn't communicate or didn't want to take action or discuss it with anybody. And it may not just be your connection, it may be other relationships as well that have suffered from this, and they really just needed to take time to wait because they felt stuck, because they couldn't do anything maybe about their circumstances in that way. And it's not that they were hoping that everything would disappear. Maybe at first they were like, if I retreat and I hide, the challenges will just like disappear and it's fine. But maybe that's where they went to begin with, but actually now they've been able to see with hindsight that actually withdrawing in this way has allowed them to build more energy and move forward and along, because it feels like they were getting stuck in a rut really with this bone collector here. It feels like they weren't really being present with themselves or the situations that they were coming up against, and actually they were almost going back to their preconditioning and their limited perception. And that can be from, you know, and with this ancestry, I'm going to link it all to family, when they were like a child and that kind of thing, and told no. And they might have been allowing unconscious patterns of behavior, which maybe they hadn't identified at that point, to rule them. I'm also seeing, with this circle in the background, I'm hearing Doctor Strange, obviously in Marvel, but also there's this kind of like, it looks like script basically, and well, to me it does anyway. When I was looking at the card, I was hearing Lord of the Rings, so I don't know, maybe that resonates. Maybe you guys are very like, it's a shared interest, or particularly for this person, maybe that kind of fantasy, Marvel / Lord of the Rings, woo, kind of films and that kind of thing. But don't worry if that doesn't resonate, that might only be for a few people. But it feels like they still kept their eye, and that's what they're almost gaining, is that awareness of being present. But what I will say is, for some people, and this might be a tangent, so if this does not resonate at all, please do discard it. For some people, this person might have gone back home to their roots, and maybe you guys knew each other from your home lives, like from when you were younger and that kind of thing. And maybe this person has gone back to that place where almost they grew up, or into a family home, and maybe to recover and to find that for themselves, that door to personal healing and happiness. But also for some people, maybe they've been with this service card here, maybe they've been looking after somebody in poor health. That, like I said, that might only be for a very select few people, but there might have been someone that they've been supporting and helping, and that's why they made the decision to move back. And that might have almost, maybe they felt stuck. Obviously they wanted to be there and they want to help and care, but they almost lost themselves in that caring potentially, and they weren't listening to their own needs or wants or desires. That was their focus. That's what they needed to do, and they submerged themselves in that task, and they like almost put everything that they wanted on halt because of that, because they wanted to do that. Because it feels like with this ancestor cards, family, I think, is king for them. Even if there's these perceptions and unconscious patterns, everybody has that, you know, things that they've had to work through. But I think their family is king to them in a lot of ways. But what I'm hearing for them, that was just a slight tangent, so that might resonate for some people. But for others, it feels like they might have just gone back to the place that you guys grew up, or they grew up, in order to try and find themselves again, is what I'm really hearing. They knew that they just needed to take this pause and this wait and look at those limited perceptions of themselves and reevaluate and say, no, actually, I am capable of being and doing so much more, and reevaluating their goal, re-examining what it is that they want, and realizing that their wounds are actually, it makes them stronger, and they can open up and heal. And that's really that door to personal healing and happiness, like their mind, body and spiritual health. I feel like, even if they were caring for someone else, and that's what that card stands, and that resonates in that way, but they've discovered that they need to be able to do that for themselves too. And I think they're just being very patient. And actually, I'm hearing like black horse energy. Like it's almost like this person isn't to be written off. They're like a silent powerhouse, gathering their energy, almost gearing up for that next shift. But what I also heard, it's just come back to me, when this crocodile card first fell out of the deck, when I was shuffling it, I heard the nursery rhyme, if you smile at a crocodile. And I mean, I'm not going to sing the whole thing, but I don't even know if that's my own preconditioning, because my mum is a reception school teacher. But firstly, I feel like this person's smile is like super cheesy grin, almost invites you back in, but also with that that nursery reception element that tied in for me. Maybe you guys might have known each other from childhood, or have maybe even spoken a lot about your childhood and that kind of thing. So maybe there's a connection there, maybe there's similar stories behind. But also I heard see you later alligator in a while crocodile, and I feel like when you maybe last saw this person, you might not have been expecting to be cut off or not hear from them for so long, and that maybe shocks you in a way that you're still trying to come to terms with. But yes, let's go into will they reach out. And like I said, if that doesn't feel like the person that you were asking after, and you were drawn to another pile, please do feel free to go back and pick that pile, and again watch the top and see if that resonates. But if that didn't feel like your person and you weren't drawn to another pile, then maybe there's not a message here for you, and that is absolutely okay. Sometimes that's really frustrating, especially if the topic matter is an answer that you really would like, but you know, you need to take what resonates for you and leave what doesn't. If it really doesn't feel like it's for you, that's absolutely fine. So let's get into this. So for pile 2, Spirit, will this person reach out? So we've got the 5 of Pentacles to begin with. We've got the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. We have got the King of Swords in reverse as well. We have got the Four of Swords. We have got the Six of Pentacles and the Fool, which I'm going to leave there. Because I was going to ask for clarification on each card. And because they fell out together, I'm going to keep them together. We've got the Three of Pentacles in reverse for the Five of Pentacles. Can we clarify the reversed Eight of Pentacles, please, Spirit? We have got the Ace of Swords. We have got the World to clarify the King of Swords. And we have got the Five of Wands to clarify the Four of Swords. And on the back, we've got the Wheel of Fortune too. Okay. So at the moment, I feel like with this Wheel of Fortune card, things are still very much, in terms of this person's energy space and where they are, it's still very much up in the air. And it's really interesting. When the first line fell out, I had a really clear feeling, and it's almost like they completely surprised me with the second line that's come through here. And that sounds very cryptic in the moment, but I will go into it. But at the top, I just want to say that I think this person and the space that they're in, they're still coming to terms with it, they're still moving through it, and they want to do that independently, and they know that that's an independent task, and they haven't quite figured out how maybe they're going to get out of this feeling of stuckness, or this feeling, and how they're going to kind of reevaluate and everything. But there is this itching and there is this want to have this new way of thinking, and almost maybe this new line of communication, even though it feels like they've run out of steam. It's like they've almost hit a rock bottom with it. And when you hit that rock bottom, the only way is hope and is up. And I wouldn't say all the nails are hammered into the coffin yet. Like, I don't think this is the end and this is the last you will hear from them. But I think with any relationship, that give and take, there's always give and take in relationships. And with this Fool card here, it's almost the new beginning and a new phase will dawn for this connection when it's the right timing, when things have aligned, but also when, almost like when both people put their hands on the wheel, I want to say, with this Wheel of Fortune, when both people are clear and directed and want the energy. And that might as well be for you. Maybe you're not fully comes to terms with all the things that have happened within this connection and the distance that has maybe erupted it and disrupted it. And so I just want to say that at the beginning. So I don't think this relationship, in whichever form it takes, is to be written off. But I think with this closed door that within this Five of Pentacles that closed, and whether that was you that closed the door or they closed the door, and or maybe it just felt like a complete event out of control, out of people's hands, whatever that finite slam, that break, I think that cut off and that separation left them with real want and need. And it's not that they didn't want to reach out, or I think that I'm struggling to find the words, and I think that's exactly what I need to say. They struggle to find the words, maybe to justify their actions, or to communicate what was actually going on with them. And I think they went so far deep into it that it was such an independent thing that they found themselves up against, that they couldn't have a team around them. They didn't almost know what it meant to have somebody on their side in a way. Like, I think there's not a lot of sword energy here, but we do have the King of Swords in reverse. And I would say that this person really struggled with other people's perceptions, potentially the external, and what people were going to think of this situation, that they just were like, I don't want to justify what's happened to anybody. And it's almost like they just put everything on mute, everything on hold. And I think they knew that they were leaving a trail of broken connections and broken relationships in all facets of their life behind them, but they need to do this thing in whatever way it was, and that's almost what overtook them, and it's almost like an intoxication is what I'm hearing. Like, whatever it was, they couldn't say no to it. And with this Eight of Pentacles in reverse, I think they got to the point where they were so far in it, so far working towards it, like, even if they lost sense of themselves or what it was they were actually doing, they couldn't take themselves out of it to see a new perception. And I think that makes it really hard to communicate and to say. But I think there was that want to reach out and ask for help, or to at least tell people what they were thinking and what they were feeling. And maybe they even like typed out a text with this Ace of Swords, like typed out their like a stream of their conscious thinking, and wanted to bring news and clarity and almost check in. And or maybe there was that one and it didn't go anywhere. Maybe you would sense something that didn't feel sentimental in some way and kind of discarded it at the time. Or maybe you reached out and again they dropped the ball on it and didn't reply. Maybe that's been a thing. Maybe they've put no effort into trying to reply and trying to reach out or giving anything, and they've been just tangled in their own, it's like all these weeds here taking over the sword here, and then it as well, it feels like they were just completely shut down and they just weren't budging. Maybe that's belligerence or stubbornness on their part if something went down, and like I said, there was that kind of closed door ending on something. Or maybe they were just within their external world so much, as in the bubble that they put themselves in, that they couldn't see outside of that. Like, they tried to be like, the outside world isn't there. So, and maybe there was that want to reach out, but there was just, they just ran out of steam. And I think they don't, ultimately, this person doesn't know what they want. And I think they're very judgmental of themselves, and their limited perception is still there. And whether they open that door to personal healing and happiness, or they know that that's the direction that they need to go towards, and they need to set themselves the goal on the world and where they want to go and what they want to do and see and be. We've got this timer here, and the timer replicated as well. It's almost like they are wasting their own time. Don't allow them, this is a very clear message from Spirit, don't allow them to waste yours. Like, if they're obviously, whatever they're doing or whatever they have done, they are on their own clock, they're on their own time, as are you. And it's important that you don't lose focus on the things that you want and you want to do, and stopping yourself from forming connections or or waiting for this person's word to allow you to do something. Because I feel like this person is, again, with this King of Swords, is not in that, is not, almost not in that mood. They're in that waiting still. They're in that, they're stagnating a bit, is what I'm hearing. Like they are fully submerged in what they're doing, and maybe there is in the future that patience with themselves and all of those things, but they know what they need, and therefore, and you should know what you need as well. And they are going to come to their path when they are ready and strike, and they might never come to that path, but you can't stop yourself going for that. And at the moment, I don't feel like they are in the headspace or have the words necessarily that are going to, even if they did reach out, that are going to almost put you at ease or give you the clarification or information or news that you deserve. And you know, we're never guaranteed, or we're not handed closure. It's not something that we can expect. We don't always get that in situations. Sometimes we're cut off and separated from things for a reason, and you know, everything comes and goes for a reason. But I don't think they're going to give you the closure maybe, or the resolution that maybe you were hoping for. And with that Four of Swords with the Five of Wands here as well, I think it's almost like they're in their waiting game, in their repose, and maybe it's their time to get out of that. But it's almost like they've built this coffin almost of their bubble, like I said before, like the bubble of the world that they are keeping close. And actually, maybe it's quite chaotic at the moment. Maybe there's a lot of things happening and quite a lot of strife around them, and really tough things, and maybe opposing wills and desires that they're having to deal with. And maybe those are the things that they very much escaped from. But actually, that's much more about their internal condition. And until they address those things internally, their external is still going to reflect that chaos. And you don't need to be dragged into that energy either, is what Spirit is saying. And it feels like they still haven't addressed those things within them in order to open up for that personal healing and happiness and that overall health. And maybe Spirit is saying as well that at the moment, this connection would not be the best thing in terms of your spiritual mind and body health. And with the Six of Pentacles and the Fool here too, that give and take again, it's required in relationships. There's nothing wrong with being a giving person and giving your energy, but if you're not given that energy back, that's when you need to stop and listen to yourself and listen to your intuition and your body and say, why am I giving so much to this relationship? Am I clinging on to something that is no longer there? Has that phase passed? Because a new phase is here. And I think with the Fool as well, it's almost like there's been a close of chapter. There's been an end of something quite finite. And it's almost like Spirit is calling you to spin the wheel and to change, and to react to the change that has happened as well. Don't get stuck and stagnant like maybe this person has within their thinking and within their external world. And you have the power to draw that energy that you might be putting into this relationship back towards your center and back towards yourself. Because as you are a giving person, you should be able to receive. And I think Spirit is also giving you the opportunity to step into the unknown and maybe step into something new. And maybe that's away from this person and away from these circumstances and this situation. But until you recognize those ebbs and flows and realize that maybe this is your opportunity to move forward. And it's not that you're discarding this person and discarding what's happened. That's still going to stay with you, but it's just not ruling you. It's not anchoring you in the past. You being present and moving forward. And I think Spirit is almost ushering you to say, if this person reaches out or they don't reach out, I don't think they're going to have the words that you want to hear anyway. I don't think they are going to, at this moment in time, serve your energy. And that's not to say in the future they might change and find that personal and, you know, reevaluate and re-examine and find their spiritual higher path and really tread it. But there is a new dawn and phase for you, and I think for them as well. I think that change is itching at them, but they're very much in that stuck mindset, and Spirit is saying, don't be like that. Lean into the change, step into that unknown, take that leap of faith, and continue to follow. It's almost, I'm hearing follow the butterfly for some reason, but butterfly might be a sign for someone, or you know, if you ask for signs from the universe, that might be it. But follow and take flight towards something, because things are constantly changing. That wheel is always spinning. Change is always coming about. It's how we react to the change that allows it to fully take place in our lives. And I think this person, until they've worked on their vision of where they want to go and realizing that they are a limitless being, they're going to be bogged down in their thoughts and in their body and almost stuck. That it's almost like they're not looking after their spiritual health, is what I'm hearing. Like, they're not listening to their intuitive knowing. They're almost shutting that off, and maybe it's because they have a fear of failure. Maybe something didn't work, or they're just cutting that off and cutting off that part of themselves so that they can focus on something else. But yes, I think Spirit is saying, I think the door is potentially open there, potentially. Like I said right at the beginning, when these tarot cards lay down, you know, I felt very, very clear about it at the beginning, kind of the top, and at the bottom, this person sort of surprised me, because people can change, people can surprise, but you can't wait around for that. You can't wait around for that person to do it, because that's on their terms and that's on their time, and it's not on yours. So you need to follow the path that you are going towards and the energy that you know that you deserve, that give and take in relationships, and make sure that that is your focus above all else. And of course you can be of service to people, and you can care about people, and you can give still a little, but don't give so much of yourself that you end up losing yourself. So I want to get some Moonology cards for you. So obviously I feel like I've spoken a lot of messages already for you as they've come up through this bit, which is not necessarily my intention, but if that's the way that it goes, that's the way that it goes. So Spirit, what else do you have to say to pile 2? What other messages do you have for them? Expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. We also have what do you need to release, waning moon. What other messages? Be bold and make the first move. And take time to breathe. Okay. I really like these cards, and I think Spirit is asking you to, well, obviously, will this person reach out? Maybe you've already made attempts to reach out, and maybe you've already done that. And maybe this be bold and make the first move. If you haven't done that, is Spirit saying, try reaching out yourself. Try, and you know, you will get very quickly the answer maybe that you maybe don't want to hear, but the answer that you maybe need to hear, or the energy that you need to hear, because energy is so important, because words, thoughts, in actions can all lie, but energy doesn't. And if you don't get the energy from this person that you know that you deserve, then that might be clarification. But also, if you've already done that and you've already made the first move, I feel like Spirit is saying that what do you need to release at this point now? Really take that time to listen to your intuition, listen to your spiritual body and that baggage that maybe you have been carrying, and release the old. Because this person, however long it's been, whether it's been a week, whether it's been 5 months, whether it's been 5 years, whatever, this person has changed just as you have, even in small, minute ways. And so therefore, this person is not the same person that you knew or maybe hold memories with in that way. Like, that is the power of nostalgia and the past, is that we can escape there and we can live in those memories, but sometimes we can let them rule us in our present, and that's almost that preconception, that unconscious behavior, believing that someone is going to do this because of their past actions, whereas actually maybe their energy is saying something different. And what do you need to release in that way? What emotional, what spiritual, what mental baggage can you release right now in order to pick something new up? And maybe that be bold and make the first move is that Fool. Maybe it's like a chess game where you're almost like neck and neck or whatever, and actually maybe it's your move away. Maybe you step away from the board and, you know, you go towards your journey and the thing that you want. And I think there's that, with that, expect powerful change. You could expect powerful change maybe from this person too. Like I said, I feel like at the top of this tarot bit, I was kind of like, they very much surprised me. And independently, maybe they will do that work and they will change. And maybe it won't take them as long as it feels like it might. But I think also expect powerful change for you when you release. When you release what you can no longer control and you relinquish it and you stop focusing your energy towards it, you feel it's not defeat. It's actually realizing the things that you can control and the things you can't. And that awareness and focusing on the things that you can control, that's when you can make impactful change, because you're able to command and feel powerful and to really take the reins. And that's really enlightenment and inner peace, where you find that relinquishment of the things that you just, at this moment in time, you can't control what somebody else is going to do or say, and how they're going to react. And with this Wheel of Fortune, there's this almost like, it's almost destiny laced with fate, in a way. And whether you prescribe destiny or fate, or you don't believe in either, fate for me is something that I struggle a little bit more with. I am much more with destiny, that there's roads and paths, and our choices and our actions lead us down different roads, and there's that free will that we are signposted and we choose. But there's sometimes moments, those coincidences and that kind of thing, where sometimes with fate, I feel like it might be laced through, like you're walking down a path and, you know, something comes at you and it feels like there's this coincidence or this otherworldliness to it, that there's something being conspired to bring you to that point. And that's spirit, and leaning into spirit, and again stepping into the unknown and picking that path and not waiting at the signposts, actually actively making bold decisions, and leaning into movement and into change. And that's where you can expect the powerful things to happen with that new moon in eclipse there. So my glorious friends of pile 2, I'm going to leave that reading there for you guys. I really hope that advice was helpful, or it gave you some clarification and it resonated with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you'd like to see me again, please do hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'm sending all the love. Bye. Hello my lovely friends of pile 3. So if you picked the Fortuna Tarot deck and also the Moonstone, then this reading is going to be for you. So as you can see, I've already got your Oracle cards ready for you guys. So I'm going to slide the tarot cards out the way for the moment and we'll come back to them. So if you skipped the intro, what we're going to do at the top of the reading is we're going to look at this person's energy, mind, body and spirit, and that should give you an indication and maybe a confirmation that yes, this is your person that you're asking after, and obviously depending on the time away or the distance away and the situation and the circumstances, some of it, you might not feel like you know fully what this person is in the throngs of and what they're doing, but it should hopefully give you an indication of yes, that feels like them. So firstly, we have got Scorpion. We have also got Pride. We have got Talisman. We have got Purpose. I know what I am here to do. I've got Thinking Man. And we've also got Get Creative as well. So let's firstly start with Scorpion up here. So Scorpion is fire energy, so Leo, Sagittarius or Aries, that's what it's represented by. But obviously with Scorpion, it's also Scorpio, if we just go like that. So potentially, maybe for some people it's a Scorpio. But so if that resonates, brilliant. If they have those placements, if they are that sign that I mentioned, great, that might be a lovely confirmation for you. If not, completely discard it. It's the energy of the Scorpion that we're looking at. And what I will say about the Scorpion is they're an incredibly passionate person, and with this Get Creative card as well, there's this determination and there's this drive here, and also this fire, this fire in their belly, and it almost is at the point where it stings and it explodes. And with this Pride too as well, it feels like if you wrong the Scorpion, if it feels burned, if there's an event, something that's unresolved that is festering, they may not be the ones to address it, but they will have words, or they will certainly have an energy around and almost this pride about how they handle it. So they can be a really intoxicating person to be around, and it's almost like they have quite a select group and maybe even friends, and maybe you were in a friendship group with them, or maybe within a sphere of some kind, but it feels like maybe at the moment they haven't come clean about how they're feeling about a situation or something like this, and maybe they're still thinking over it and towards you. But what I will say about Scorpion is that they know what they want. With this Purpose, I know what I'm here to do, and this Talisman, like they know their path, they know what is for them, and they're very driven towards that thing. I'm hearing that like, there ain't no stopping us now, we're on the move. And it's almost like they've almost got that skip in their step, going towards what it was. And I'm also hearing donkey for some reason in Shrek as well, and obviously that's about a journey and a quest, and I feel like they very much have that thing that they're moving towards. But yes, I just think intoxicating is the word that I want to use, and wild and free. There's someone, I think, when their energy is, when you're in that in the throngs with them, and like when you're in their energy, there's this freedom, and there's this feeling that you can do anything and you're unstoppable as well. It's almost like there's this real perception that they have, that they can almost they can almost relate to anybody. I think they use their words really well, and in a really creative way as well. I think they give like the most creative gifts is what I'm hearing as well. Like they as in gifting with energy too, and maybe like in terms of how they are how they communicate as well, they're extremely creative. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they go so far as to like get a bird and like put a little scroll on it. Like I think I think there's a silliness to Scorpion as well. But I think if they feel burned, or if they feel cornered into a wall or something like that, then they can become quite fiery and quite and like I said, prideful. So potentially that's what's happened between you both within this connection, and maybe they're so much in their head thinking all the things but not actually expressing how they're feeling, so it's almost just building this tension. So that's what I'm hearing. But also for some people, maybe there's not that tension, and maybe this is someone new that you've met or you've seen on the periphery, and actually it's an energy like this person you're quite enamored by, or like and drawn in by, because I think there is a seductive quality here as well. Someone who knows what their purpose in life is and what they're here to do and what they're there to seek, and they're listening to their own internal talisman. They're listening to that thing and being really practical about it. But yeah, I think for some there could be this unresolved feeling, or maybe even some jealousy. And jealousy and envy is different. Envy is coveting something somebody else has. So it's not from an envy maybe the Scorpion is from. It's potentially jealousy. And jealousy is having something and being afraid of losing that thing. So yeah, I feel like there is definitely maybe a need to heal for some people within this pile. Maybe heal and forgiveness, and maybe that needs to come from Scorpion, or maybe they feel like they are owed an apology, and maybe then they're not. Maybe they're not the ones who are right in the situation. So for some people that could be the situation at hand. Or for some people, if you're looking at Scorpion and you're interested in Scorpion, maybe because they've got quite a tight-knit group, you're unsure of almost whether they will, or maybe they have in the past in really creative ways spoken to you or sent you messages, and now they're almost in this thinking stage, and you don't know whether you are going to hear from them in the same way, or maybe you almost gave them an ultimatum and they're mulling it over, for some, and maybe it's slightly off the path that they were moving, and that they're not sure, and maybe it's still left up in the air. So there's a few scenarios in there that have already come out, but hopefully for some people this feels like, yeah, that resonates. That's Scorpion. That's who I was asking after. But like I said, if that doesn't resonate and you were drawn to another pile, then maybe go to the top and pick that one, and again see that connection, see that energy of the person. But if you weren't drawn to any other piles and this one didn't resonate, maybe there's no messages for you today. It can be frustrating sometimes, but sometimes that is the case. So I'm going to shuffle your tarot, and we will get into the crux of this reading. So give it one more break. Okay, so Spirit, will this person reach out to pile 3? Will this person reach out to pile 3? There's definitely stubbornness here. Nothing is budging. Or just a hard nut to crack. Here we go. We've cracked it. Okay, we've got the Prince of Candles here. We've got the Strength card. Okay, yeah, we've got more fire, more Leo, Sagittarius and Aries, and again with the Strength we've got Leo there too. got the Three of Swords. We've got the Eight of wands or candles in this deck. We've got the Seven of Keys or Swords. Can we please clarify the Prince of Candles, Spirit? We have got the Hermit. We have got the Eight of Keys for the Strength card, or the Eight of Swords. For the Three of Swords, Spirit. Okay, got 10 of Wands in reverse. The Eight of Wands. Oh, okay, we've got two. I'm going to keep both. We've got the Two of Cups, and we've also got the Three of Cups. Okay. And then for the Seven, we have got the Three of Wands there too. Okay. And on the back, we have the Princess of Talismans as well. Okay. Interesting. I'm super intrigued by this energy right now. So I think this person, what I want to say, what do I want to say first? What do I? And I think that it's almost, this is the dialogue that they're having, like, where do I even begin? Where do I even start? Because I think whatever's happened has actually hurt them and pierced them a lot more than, like, I think there's definitely still this resentfulness maybe, or this like almost icing out. I'm hearing ice queen or king or whatever, however it's identified, ice person. But I feel like maybe they have this facade of being quite controlled and having everything all together, but actually I think this has broken them much more than they are letting on. And I think the words of others and maybe whatever the situation that has happened between you both has actually maybe pierced them much more. Or if this person is someone that you're interested in, I think the heartbreak that maybe they've suffered from the past is still something that echoes within them, and actually they haven't fully released, and they still feel that burden of these thoughts and this anxiousness about they haven't felt everything yet. They haven't moved really through that grief or through that grieving period and really come to terms with what has actually happened, and I think realize their own part in it. I think there's that awareness there. Like, I think even whatever's happened, I think they I think they're just still broken by it is what I'm hearing. And so maybe, and I think this is the thing, I think there's the intention and the want to reach out, but at the moment there's still this, there's definitely, strength is definitely triumphing, and love is, and the love for themselves is definitely triumphing over their thoughts. But I think they are waiting for that window of opportunity, is what I want to say. Because I think whilst they've withdrawn and they're taking that time, maybe they've not fully come to the awareness yet of their past and the actions and the roles and the events, and whether that's towards you or whether that's something that's happened pre-you and is prehistoric, or just historic, prehistoric, I can say that, just something that's happened maybe recently. They still haven't unpacked all of that yet. But with this Hermit, the reason that maybe they have retreated, or they have withdrawn, or they're not maybe as forthcoming as they were at the beginning, if maybe there was like floods of messages and now it feels quite stagnant or stale, or there's nothing really at all, it's drips and drabs and that kind of thing. They've almost gone into this Hermit mode to find themselves, to listen to their candle, to listen to their internal flame, because they needed to, it was almost like they were trying to fill at the time, it was like they were trying to fill a black hole, fill themselves up with things and distractions, so they didn't have to confront what it was that they were actually feeling, or the thoughts that hurt them and stung their pride in a lot of ways. And it's almost like with that scorpion, like they have an armor, and I think the scorpion, I haven't studied scorpions, but there's this quite hard, like, outer shell is what it's not a shell, I know it's not a shell, but this skin, there's this toughness here, and they're obviously the people that can pierce, that can strike. They've got those pincers at the front and then that sting in their tail, but actually maybe they weren't expecting somebody, maybe they've become quite hardened and bitter because of that experience as well. But maybe that's something that they don't necessarily let on, but maybe they weren't expecting somebody to pierce the armor in quite that way, or make them realize the wounds that they had. And maybe if you have fallen out with this person or had an argument with this person and that's what you resonated with, maybe it's not even about you. Maybe it's about an unconscious pattern that they've only just realized, or it's a situation that echoes something else that happened to them in the past, and actually they've realized that maybe they're a problem, maybe as in not they're a problem, but maybe they're part of the problem and part of the issue. And it takes two to tango. But for some people, if this is someone that you are communicating with and it's gone cold in that way, potentially they were trying to open themselves up and actually they weren't ready, they hadn't healed in that way at that moment in time. So there's really this retreat and this quietness, and I feel like there's still that repose, there's still that listening that needs to be done, that need for enlightenment and messages from themselves and then from their internal and their intuition, and they're really trying to play with that so practically they can then move forward. It's almost like they're taking that time to study themselves and realize what it is that they need, and that can be a slow process, a slow burn for some people. But what I will say is that as well, I think they've realized their part in situations where maybe they've tried to manipulate something to their benefit, or they've maybe held secrets or grudges, or with this Seven of Swords, there's this kind of manipulation, and whatever maybe they've played their part in the past, they've realized that they're not defined by their past actions, that they can rewrite that by moving forward and by asking for forgiveness too. They might not necessarily get that, but asking for forgiveness, being honest, and allowing their flame to burn and show, and even if it's not burning completely and they can't see the path fully ahead, they know the steps they need to take. I'm hearing I've got that flash of Mean Girls with Katie going to Regina's house and being like, I'm gonna absolutely muck this up, but it's like when a snake bites, you have to suck the poison out, all that kind of thing. And it's like, almost, even if their part wasn't that a lot of people caused pain and frustration around, you can honor the part that you played and realize that maybe you do have to own up for things and accept that you can't change what has happened, but it's not going to define you. And maybe people will still have that perception of you for a time, but you are still lighting your way, even if it's only a small steps forward. The path is ahead of you, and you're going to try they're going to try their very, very best to slowly but surely make those steps towards forgiveness and towards the path that they want to tread. And they know that Spirit has their back on that. Their back on trying to make amends and trying to release old energy, the vision that maybe people have on them, and to rediscover and redefine themselves. And I think with this Eight of Candles, and we've got the Two of Cups and also the Three of Cups, I think there is, what I want to say, Eight of Wands is this swiftness and this movement and this clarity, and I feel like they they want to express their feelings, and maybe their feelings about this situation, but also just be maybe truthful, because I think with this Three of Cups, they do see you as somebody within their community, someone with which they can revel, and someone that they want to be more like, and your energy, the energy that you bring, someone that they can really celebrate and find abundance with and festivity. But also with this Two of Cups, there is love here and there is reciprocation. And actually, I think there was this initial, there's also this Cancer energy on both cards that I need to bring up too. But I'm also seeing Sagittarius and thinking about like shooting your shot, because it's the Archer. I don't know why that came to my mind, but yeah. So maybe for some people, they want to make that declaration and come out and say, this is who I am now, and that kind of thing. But I think they were drawn to you, and they know that they were drawn to you for a reason, and that's because they wish to be around you, because they admire your energy, because they feel healed by your energy and reassured by you. And it's almost like their own preconceptions that has tipped it, and you know, and or like what's happened in their past has ruled their thinking in the present moment. So they know that they need to work on that. So I feel like this person will reach out and does want to, and it's almost burning to reach out, but at the moment they're very much in this with the prince and the princess, with the Prince of Candles, there's definitely this like direction, and this, maybe they ran away from situations a bit and they like took flight against them and almost emigrated away, but there's definitely this directed intuition here, and especially with the Eight of Candles as well, I think there is a direction of where they know that they want to go and where they want to take their energy, and it's like their energy is there now, they're catching up towards it, but practically they almost want to get this plan together of how maybe they will approach. But they know it has to be led with feelings. They know that they have to be honest now and truthful about what is actually going on in their heart, because it's their head and their mind that has got in their way, their pride, their ego. And I think with this Strength card here as well, I think they're realizing that they don't need to be ferocious in all these situations. And actually the vulnerability, by sharing their truth, by sharing their heart, that's actually strength in itself. And they can be really proud of the purity there and the purity of their intentions, because I do think their intentions are pure now, especially towards you and especially towards this relationship and this connection. And I think they don't want to be ruled, or maybe they don't want to come across as they did, and maybe they fell into a pattern of behavior of how they used to act, or how they used to act towards situations, and they know that they're above that. So it's almost like they withdrew so far because they were like, we're not doing that, we're not being that person. So I do feel like this person will reach out, and it might just, it's on their time is the thing, and it's on their, until they go through those things and release those thoughts that actually feel quite insurmountable to them, but actually it's just their perception of the situation. And maybe honesty from you will bring out honesty from them as well. But I think with this Eight of Wands, there's definitely that news knocking on the door, that clarity, and something's already been set in motion. Something's already been planned out in some way. And there is this swiftness and this movement, and it's all about the reaction to the change that is coming. And maybe that's even the reaction, their reaction to you. Maybe it's potentially you reaching out. If you feel like you are of course you're capable of doing that, but if you feel like you're in the position like, yes, actually I could reach out to this person, then maybe that is something that, if they lean into that change, that really will maybe open them up and allow them to confide in your energy. Because at the moment with this Hermit, like, they are asking these deep questions of themselves and really waiting for those answers, and that can be a slow process, but there's definitely that direction. They know the path, or they feel the path that they are intuitively drawn to and that they want to go down. It's almost that their mind is the thing that's dampening their light at the moment. Yeah, and I think they know that they energetically need to let go of those things, then I think they're becoming aware of that fact if they're not already. And everybody has scars, everybody has wounds, and I think whether it's something that they've suppressed or they've let fester, they're now starting to attend to it because they have to, because maybe now through you it's almost sabotaged another connection, or it might go that way. Maybe they feel like it's beyond repair, but I think there's that hope that it's not. But what I will say, and I think what Spirit says as well, is that obviously just as everybody comes into your life as a lesson and to learn from, and I think what you can take from this person as well is that even if they haven't told you already, vulnerability is strength, and being raw and pure and with yourself too. But also that, yeah, you're not defined by your past actions, and maybe there were things that were said between you both and that may feel unforgivable, or maybe you don't feel like you can reach out and that kind of things. But there can always be a repair, there can always be a mend. You learn, you can grow, and you have to accept your past and your history and learn from it, and with absolute honesty really look at that. And then at that point you can make changes in order to move away from that energy consciously, and that can affect in turn your future and the future of this connection and other relationships as well you have. So you're not defined by what went down here, or if that is the case, and that's the thing that resonates with you, but also if you as well have had scars from past relationships, and putting yourself out there and that kind of thing again, and this feels like ghosting or something like that, then you know, it's your perception of the situation is a thing that could hold you back from really looking at your feelings, and also going after the things that you want. If you believe it's unattainable, then in your reality sometimes it will almost be that way. And it's, yeah, I'll get some cards for you. Hold your vision, fixed moon. Hold that vision for the energy that you want, and that's where I was kind of going as well in my spiel. But the energy of what you want from this connection, but also in other connections like it too. Hold your vision, and hold the vision of the energy that you want to be surrounded by, and be fixed with that. Be uncompromising of the boundaries that you have and the boundaries that you set. It's like a protective layer, and it's like an armor basically. And it's not that nothing can go in, but it's just like anything that doesn't fit to your values in that moment in time, or any energy that's coming at you that you can't control or is potentially damaging. Don't allow that energy, allow it to ricochet off you, and keep focused on where you're going, and set those clear boundaries for how you want to be treated. And that doesn't mean people can't change and then align to your boundaries or understand your boundaries, but if people overstep it, you know, that's it. Like you stay steadfast, you hold that. The answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini, and I think with this here, this clarity, this thing, I think there's almost this movement, or maybe even the why, and that doesn't necessarily mean that there's forgiveness on the horizon, that kind of thing, as in you don't have to, or maybe they don't have to, but maybe clarity will. And you may understand it, but that doesn't mean you necessarily have to forgive it. You can release it and say, okay, I accept that, and I accept that story of what's happened. But yes, the answers to the questions that maybe also you're asking. We've got confidence is key to success. New moon in Leo. So I feel like whatever you want from this situation, being confident in yourself, not second guessing yourself, but also being fully sure and determined, and knowing your part, knowing who you are and what you're responsible for, and what it is you want to be defined by. Like I said, with that Three of Wands, in the same way that they are looking towards something, and they've almost got this vision, and they want luck to be on their side, and they can see that ship coming in, the path that they want ahead of them. That's where they want to be going. Like, your direction and how you handle yourself is the key to allowing your goals and your things to really take root. If you are fully determined and confident, and you believe your path with every fibre of your being, you know who you are, that is who you are going to be if you're acting in that way, and that's how you're going to leap forward, and you're going to grow, and you're going to learn. So let's get one more, Spirit. What else do you have to say to pile 3? What other messages? We've also got, you're very close to achieving your goal. So for some people, maybe you've also at the end, a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer, which I think is so interesting with that. You're very close to achieving your goal. If you've been waiting for an apology from this person, maybe that thing is coming towards you, and you know, because you've been confident in your position, and you've held, or even if it's not that, and it's what you resonated otherwise with, if this is someone you're interested in, and you know, you feel like and you want that sort of energy within your life, maybe different energy is coming towards you, maybe not necessarily from this person, or maybe it is from this person, but maybe there's this like resolution and closed chapter in a way. Yeah, I feel like I'm hearing forgiveness, but maybe it's just acceptance as well. But I think whatever it is, you're very close to achieving what you want out of this situation, whatever that is, whether it's an apology, or whether it's just an acceptance and being able to release it and move on, or whether it is getting back and being close to this person. And I think that comes from setting your boundaries and knowing what it is and what it isn't you deserve. And so if the energy is right, and that energy comes towards you, you know that's for you. But be confident in, don't be so rigid with yourself that you won't allow things to necessarily develop and unfold, and allow someone to have that authenticity and honesty. But you know, and you can be confident in your energy barometer for the energy that you are deserving of. I think when this thing comes to pass, because I definitely feel like with these cards as well layered over top, that there definitely is going to be contact, and there is going to be this reaching out, maybe closer than is thought. But yes, this thing that's weighing, I think, because you've held steadfast, because you've known that it was coming, it's almost on its way now. So my lovely friends of pile 3, I'm going to leave that reading there for you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really hope it resonated with you and the advice was helpful. If you'd like to see me again, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you again, obviously. And until next time, I am sending so much love. Bye. Hello my lovely friends of pile 4. So if you picked the Orbita Tarot deck and the Citrine, then this reading is going to be for you. So as you can see, I've got your oracle cards ready and waiting, so we're going to put the tarot to the side for the time being, and we're going to look at your oracles. So if you skipped the intro, your oracles are going to look at this person, their energy, what they may be like, their mind, body and spirit, so that you can kind of have confirmation that yes, this is the person that I'm asking after. So then therefore you feel more confident in the reading thereafter. And if this doesn't feel like your person, don't be disheartened. If you were drawn to another pile, maybe go and check the top of that section. Or maybe if you weren't and this doesn't feel right, then don't take it. Just leave it if it doesn't feel right. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. That is always the motto on the door. And maybe there's just not a pile here for you today, but let's get going. So we have got Moth first. We have got New Beginnings, number 1. We have got Rescue. We have got Love. I commit to the practice of seeing good in all things. We have got Cornucopia, and we've also got the Outlaw too. So what I want to talk about firstly is this Moth here. So we've got air signs here, air energy. So this person could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. They do not have to be. They do not have to have those placements. It might just be a great confirmation for you if they do. We're after much more of the energy of this person. And really with the energy of Moth, instantly moth drawn to a flame. The moth is drawn, it's almost like magpie energy as well, drawn to newness, drawn to new things and new experiences, but also always believing and being very wishful for, there's that cornucopia on the side, on the other side, the grass is greener on the other side. If I take this turn, something better is going to come along. There's that real almost whimsical energy, and there's this enthusiasm that yes, there is this thing coming around, but actually this attraction to newness and the shiny objects, as it were, or to easy solutions, might leave disappointment in its tread, or things that don't get resolved, unfinished business, as it were, because there's that constant maybe jumping from sidestepping, jumping to different things, and maybe they also get quite bogged down in that as well, looking out for the newness. And maybe there's this with the Rescue card here as well, they're obviously committed to love and finding the things that they love and finding the things that they want, and they're very hopeful in that, but they might get quite jittery and maybe quite run down about the complexities, because maybe they form this kind of illusion that maybe they're much freer than they realize. They realize that they can take flight from maybe almost this, I don't want to say mentality, but see things from a different perspective maybe. But this person really bangs to the beat of their own drum. I think maybe in a way they don't need rescuing. Maybe this is just their state. This is who they are. And this grass is greener on the other side. This mentality, life is the cup is half full. That's who they are. And actually they are always going to practice that's who it is. And actually maybe that's the thing actually about this Rescue card, is not actually that they need to be rescued, but actually they're busy with this hot air balloon. They're busy looking out for the new thing, but the spectacle that they might lose sight of the people that maybe they leave behind. That's potentially that, when they're on their new beginning, on their new discoveries, they might leave things in their tread and maybe not realize the trail. But with that Outlaw, they are really free-spirited, and they want this journey, they want this adventure, they want the mystery. It's Indiana Jones vibes, but and any adventurer vibes that you can have, Jumanji, anything, just constantly seeking the adventure. I also heard Jungle Cruise as well, maybe again because it's just The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, in that as well, but Emily Blunt's character in that too, being unashamedly different and breaking out of the perceptions of what other people think and going after those things even if people don't understand them. And maybe at the moment they're in this phase of this new beginning, and maybe there's that distance, and maybe you feel slightly cut off from that, and because they're off, or I want to say they're off gallivanting, they're off on this next adventure, and maybe you almost feel like you've been left behind a bit. and maybe you feel like you're the one that in need of rescuing in some way, or maybe you feel like they need rescuing from their pattern, but actually I think this is who they are. And maybe there's a part of you that is like, oh, you know, they should be more practical, they should do this, or maybe you're not like that at all, but there's other people externally that you can see that are like that. And yeah, I think they just want to break free, but there's definitely this moth drawn to the flame, like they're drawn to like the new. And so maybe that's where you might feel like you get lost. And if you haven't been in contact with this person, maybe you worry whether you have been left behind in some way, because they could be quite impulsive and quite hasty maybe to make decisions, and maybe it happened really, really quickly, and now you haven't seen them for a while or haven't spoken to them in a while. So let's put your oracle cards aside and get into the tarot section of our reading. So I'm going to put the crystal away as well. We've got the citrine and we've got the Orbita Tarot deck. So I'm going to give it a good shuffle. So like I said, if that didn't feel like it resonated, maybe that this reading isn't for you. But like I said, you can always go and pick another pile. But for those who are staying, let's get going. I'm just going to give it one more shuffle, and then we'll get into it for Will They Reach Out. And also maybe for some people you were like the sidekick on one of their adventures or that kind of thing, and maybe you don't feel, it's almost like movie 2 where the rules change and maybe you feel a bit out of your depth, or maybe you feel like you're not in it anymore, like the light's not shining on you. That might resonate with some people, that might not resonate with everybody. But Spirit, will this person reach out? Okay, so we've got the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Swords, we have got the Five of Wands. Spirit, will this person reach out? We've got the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands has come up in 3 out of 4 of the piles today. That was just a great observation. We have got the Knight of Cups. Clarification here with the Queen of Swords and also the Queen of Wands. Okay, interesting. Can you clarify the Knight of Swords for me? Okay, we've got the Page of Cups in. I want to double check. Do you want to be up or down? Let's do that one more. Up or down? Up. Upright. Five of Wands. Can we grab clarification for, please, Spirit? We've got the Two of Wands there. With the Eight of Wands, we have got the Three of Swords. Okay, interesting. And with the King of Wands, can we have clarification? We have got Temperance. Okay, I just want to clarify the Three of Swords. Six of Pentacles. Okay, I get it. And then we've got the Judgment card on the back of the deck. Okay, so where to begin? So firstly, I think this person with this Judgment card here has very much this new beginning. Maybe they're quite whimsical, and maybe they like to flit and float between different things, and maybe they can be hasty and they can be rash, but this thing that they are on now, this path that they are finding for themselves right now, is unlike anything that they've been on, any journey that they've been on. And actually it feels like this is almost their highest spiritual calling here, and that cornucopia as well is really coming through. And this is something that they were always hoping for, the energy that they were going to align with. And it's actually something that maybe even though they've had that mentality of the grass is greener, maybe they weren't sure, that maybe they were almost trying to trick themselves into believing it, but now it's something that they know to be true. There's this alarm bell that's been going off for them, this path that they have to tread, and it's broken them out of the box. And they're already way outside the box already, but even the ceiling that they had maybe put on themselves, that limitation, it's really opened them up to something new. And they're really, really directed there with both their emotions and also their thoughts. Like this thing that they're so passionate about, they're going to be shouting it from the rooftops. They're going to be wanting to share it with people. And I think this person is, I feel like this person is almost due to reach out about this thing that they've discovered. And I think it's not necessarily going to be the message that maybe you want to hear from them. And maybe what you want to hear from them is that they need you, and that they wish that you were along for the journey. And maybe there's part of them that does wish, you know, that you could share in this and revel in this. But actually, I think this is a path that they very much feel drawn to for themselves. And actually, they don't want to feel like they're split in two, or that they're at the moment and having to choose, maybe. And so I feel like they will almost reach out, but reach out in the way of shouting and about their passions and about this thing that they found, and where they're directing their energy. And it's almost like a bulldozer with this Knight of Swords. Like they're obviously extremely passionate about it, and their heart's in it, and they've discovered these answers to things in this formless space. Like they've really gone on this journey to discovery. And I think they've taken lots of time to meditate and reflect and like listen to their heart in a lot of ways. And I think their energy is so focused on that at the moment. And with this Knight of Cups here, and the Queen of Swords, and also the Queen of Wands, I think what I'm picking up here is that the energy that they want to move towards is of higher perception, and they still want to keep this air of positivity around. Like, I think they see you as someone who is highly positive, who has overcome so many emotional storms and encounters, and has that half glass, like full energy too. That you're someone that they can really like revel in, and someone that has that just do it energy as well. And I think someone who is really in their corner. And I think when it comes to the energy of love and friendship and what they want to surround themselves with, you are very much on that path, and like you are the energy that aligns with that. And it's not that that's not the case. I think it's just that with this Queen of Swords energy as well, I don't know whether you're within a friendship group or a community, and maybe there's other people within the community that maybe if they hang out with you, they also have to hang out with them. And maybe there's somebody else who maybe is quite analytical of this person, or doesn't necessarily understand this person, or maybe asks them tough questions from a place of love and trying to understand, but they might see it as quite abrasive, and actually they just want to, it's almost they just take the bulldozing approach of no, I'm absolutely fine, I'm doing this and it's great, and they almost don't like to be reminded of that. So maybe you come as like a trio, or like this person that is maybe attached to you is, you know, is someone that the energy maybe doesn't align in the same way. That might be for some people, and maybe for other people it's like, I think the relationship, because what it could be for some with this Queen of Swords, and obviously we had the Moth earlier, and maybe you're more a Queen of Wands, Leo, Sagittarius or Aries, and still they see you as this positive force, this person that sees life as half full, and the cup as half full, and really, again, it's just in their corner, really fighting that spirit and like giving the best advice. And I think with this Queen of Swords here, it's like almost chalk and cheese, like with this, it's the Orbita Tarot deck, so it's flowers and space basically, and it's almost like complete opposites ends, but as in terms of maybe the way people approach things, but it's worked, and this relationship has worked, and that's almost something that they still want to keep. They still want to keep that energy of the relationship and the connection that you two have outside of external influences. But they are on this path, and they are fully determined on this thing at the moment. And I think it's one of those relationships where it doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter if you haven't spoken or seen each other in ages. As soon as you're back in the throngs and in it together, it's like no time has passed at all. And so there is definitely like healing and reassuring that comes from this connection. And there's definitely directed in terms of like, it's still something that they see within their future, something that they see on their path moving forward, but they are just on this track, and they're just almost like, I'm doing this thing. Like, I think with this Five of Wands and the Two of Wands here as well, they don't, like I said, they don't want to be split. They don't want to be tied down by something. So it's almost like they had to break away. They had to break away from, I think maybe opposing wills and desires that might have been coming out from around them. Maybe they felt they were in quite a chaotic sphere, maybe in quite chaotic company, and actually that felt like it was almost bogging them down and not allowing them to really fully embrace the path that they found ahead. Maybe people were trying to give them advice and with all the best intentions, but actually I think it was stifling maybe their creativity and their path. And again, this is also broken here. And sometimes things have to break and they have to separate. And maybe it's the case with the relationship at the moment. And maybe it's because of the external people that you're around, or maybe it's just what was said between you both. Sometimes we're broken or separated from things at that moment because it doesn't serve our energy at that time. So maybe this person didn't serve your energy as well, vice versa. And that doesn't mean that you won't again, and you won't rejoin again, and you can't connect. You're not so far that it can't be mended. But like with this Judgment as well, sometimes the thing that is together at one point is not the thing that finally glues. Maybe it's not the path, and you can redefine yourself and redefine the relationship too. But with this Eight of Wands, we've got the Three of Swords, and we've also got the Six of Pentacles. And I think if they were to reach out, and whether there were to be news or clarity and that kind of thing, I actually think this person, I think there would be like an exchange, and I think there would be give and take, and maybe there will be this kind of like checking in energy that you both have with one another, and maybe it's not what it was. And I think with this Three of Swords, like it's all very polite, it's all very, you know, there's still that love there's still that history, but it's almost like, why at this moment in time why aren't we back where we were? And I think it actually hurts, and there's almost that pain of what's been disrupted, and actually of what you're not hearing or what you're not saying to one another. And I think it's a matter of timing is really what Spirit is saying. And I think there will be contact, because I think there's still that there's still paths aligning, and I still think there's like energy that serves you both, but I don't like, as in, I think there's energy and qualities within one another that you both love and adore, and you know, there's things that have bonded you, experiences and that kind of thing, but I think at the moment there's a reason that it's broken and it's separated, and there's been this cut off. And if it does come back together, it might only be temporarily, and it's like when the planets align is what I'm hearing, like in Hercules, in a, like, you know, Hades being like, this is a once in a, that's not, this is not even verbatim, it's not even anything he says, but like when all the planets align, that's when they can get to the Titans. That's the image that I'm seeing with this Three of Swords, that when all the stars align, when it's the right timing, there'll be like this contact. And it doesn't mean that you haven't been thinking of one another, but maybe the words just haven't been able to be formulated, but it feels very transactional or surface level. Like there is that give and take, and that, but it's just not exactly what you want to hear, or it's not the depth that you guys want to get to, or you know that this connection has at that time being. But I think what's really interesting here is the King of Wands and also the Temperance card. And I think with distance and space and time, that, and also you both treading the paths with this Judgment card, that you're both higher callings, listening to the things that you need to be doing in yourselves. That is almost the big visions and the dreams and those kind of things. Your ambition is almost, I think, what binds you together. It's not necessarily that you have the same dreams, but the drive and the determination that you both have, and the optimism, is almost what you share. And I think by, oh, actually, this is so beautiful. Because with this Temperance card, we've got these flowers bending, and also this space, and it's almost the halves, and they can come back together again. You can be polar opposites, you can be in different parts of the world, you can be wherever, chalk and cheese, but you will find your way back to one another. And what really binds you is dreams. And I think maybe when you've accomplished your dreams, and with the King of Wands, maybe this is the kind of, when, like, I still think there's going to be this politeness and this energy here, but I think when you both are really established within yourselves, and you both know that you've almost made it, as it were, like you have really experienced and gone after your intuition, and you've made your dreams big, and you're almost delegating those things down as well, like you need your team around you. Each other is who you're going to call, and you can both be those people who are at the top of their game, and when you're really established, and that's when maybe there's this ambition in career and that kind of thing, or the dreams and accomplishments, and actually when those things, and maybe it's later on in life, become less important, or they're still important but they less defined, you've like proven yourself, and you've proven yourself to yourself, and maybe your ambitions, your goals slightly change and they bend. That's when I think the energy, you're able to move it towards one another, because at the moment maybe there's excess going towards the goals and the plans and the visions that you have, and that's not a bad thing at all. And maybe this person doesn't fit into that at this moment in time. It's not that they're not supportive, but they've got their own thing going on, and maybe it's completely different. They've got their calling, you've got yours, and I think there's a space and a time where that the energy is going to bend together again. And I think both people are going to almost be at the place where they can alchemize their life and be like, okay, where have I been excess, or where can I draw back my energy, and what do I want? Actually, I want my friends around me. I want someone who knows me. I'm hearing the song Sunscreen, where it's like, what's it? It's not, there's this line about surround yourself with people when you're young, like, and the memories of when you're young. And I feel like that's almost when there's going to be that reach out. Maybe it's even a reunion, maybe it's a school reunion or something like that, if that's the connection of where it's been. But there's definitely going to be a time or a place where that where you properly sit down and properly reconcile and are able to share your vision and share where you've been. And I think in the interim, there will be those moments where you reach out. Maybe it's birthdays, maybe it's anniversaries, maybe it's those kind of things, and still checking in. But I think the real meat of the relationship comes back much later, when your goals and your ambitions and your visions have really been stomped out, and you're at the top of your game and they are too, which is a beautiful thing to, I think, as well, is that people serve you at a particular time, and this person still serves your energy, as in still something that the energy of love that you want to be around, but they're just not right for you at this moment in time, and maybe you're not right for them, and it feels like a timing thing. But I think they definitely, I think, feel that there is a reason that you guys met, and you know, I think there's obviously everybody you learn a lesson from, and I think you've both taken so much from one another. And yes, it doesn't mean that it's wilting and it's never going to come back and it's never going to mend. I think the complete opposite, actually. I just think it's a not now, but not that there won't be civilness and talking and that kind of thing, and that you won't be still kept up to date, but maybe just from afar a bit. But yes, I'm going to get some Moonology cards now for you. So some advice for you right now from Spirit. So Spirit, what messages do you have for pile 4? What messages, what things would you like to say to pile 4? Any final notes? You and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. So I think this person is a loved one. I think this person is someone that you will always cherish, and they will always cherish you as well. And I think no matter the distance, like, Spirit's got their back, Spirit's got your back, and there's obviously, and I think that should just be clarification for you that they're okay. And maybe you already know that. Maybe you've like followed that. Maybe you're on social media, or you've just I mean, this is will they reach out? But maybe you know from friends of friends that they're okay. Also, nothing is yet set in stone. Yeah, I think Spirit is saying this relationship isn't as well. Like, there's always that cornucopia, there's always hope in all situations, there's always things, there's always tides, there's always new things that are coming about, new opportunities, new waves to ride, and you never know when those things may intersect, when they may be part of your team and they think of you to join their vision, or vice versa, and things align in that way. We've also got bring love into the situation, new moon in Aquarius. And I think that's the thing, is just to remember the love that you both share, and that can be the catalyst for you to reach out as well, and to bring forward towards them. And love can heal a lot of wounds. So if there feels like there's been a situation which feels like it's beyond repair, like I don't think anything is set, especially here. I think both people are, a personal issue reaches resolution. I think both people are open-minded to things being resolved in whatever way, and also work through your fears, new moon and Scorpio. So maybe you have a fear of this potential abandonment, or maybe or being left in the dark, or maybe not knowing how to resolve this issue if there has been an issue in the relationship, or just like the issue of not talking. I think always bringing love and bring honesty and being open with your heart will help you. And because where love is, fear can't be. it can't thrive. And therefore, by bringing love towards your fears and understanding where that might come from, why maybe you have that front, or maybe that wall up, maybe you're wall up against this energy, or this wall up and from contacting this person, but you are loved, and this person is loved as well, and I think you both share this love for one another. And I don't think, even though I said, you know, top of your game, you can be top of your game next week. You could get the job or the whatever that you want, or, you know, reach the goal, the tick list that you have, or they could as well. And, you know, it doesn't have to be years and years down the line, and it might feel strained at the moment. And what you're really asking is, will this person reach out in the way that I want them to, in the way that we used to be? And I think Spirit is saying, you know, I don't think that I think this is the middle of the story here, for this relationship. I don't think it's not a closed chapter. Yeah, I definitely think the door is open, and I think they've left the door open for you just as much as you have left it open for them, with hopes that, you know, one day someone will knock, or someone will just push it through and barge through. But I think with this Judgment card as well, don't forget your calling, don't forget and don't compromise on the things that you want to be moving towards. And it might be different from this person, and maybe being civil and that kind of thing, and or still reaching out, still being there, but not being able to see each other all the time, and that kind of thing. Maybe that's not what serves you best at this moment in time. Maybe there's distance. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you're in space and time, opposite ends of the earth or something like that, and maybe it's different time zones and it's strained communication in that way. So maybe it's not a massive issue, but things will come together, and I really think Spirit wants to leave you with that. So my glorious friend of pile 4, I'm going to leave that reading there for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope it resonated with you. I hope the advice was helpful. If you'd like to see me again, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd obviously love to see you there. Thank you so much again for letting me read your cards, and until next time, I'm sending so much love. Bye.